If the windows in your house are old, inefficient, leaky, or painted shut, maybe even rotted, this video is for you. I'm gonna show you the start to finish steps to replace an entire window in your house. Okay, the first step in removing those old windows is to score the trim on the inside and the out and use a small pry bar to gently remove that. We want to try and reuse that trim later. The window itself is going to come out pretty easily. Most of the time you're going to use a Sawzall to cut down the jambs of that window, and you're going to break those nails and that window is going to pop right off. If you had a flanged window, again, use that Sawzall, maybe even with a metal cutting blade, and that window will come out. We're going to protect the sill of this window with one of my favorite products. This is DuPont's Flex Wrap. Before we do this though, we always want to slope the sill to get some positive drainage to the outside. And then when that Flex Wrap goes in, we're making a bathtub that window is going to sit in that's going to capture any water that might happen from that window and make sure it's going to the outside of the building and not going in where it could rot or mold on the inside of the framing. You know, this 50s house when it was built didn't have any insulation, and if the windows leaked into the wall cavity, they could dry. But with today's energy codes and the insulation and the air tightness we're doing on our houses, we have very little capacity for a house to leak and not have mold or rot problems in the future. Now that we've got that sill in place on this opening, we're gonna actually pop in the new window. My carpenters did a great job on this house. You can see as we put that window in, we're actually going back in with a flanged window in this case, which is very similar to a new construction window. If we didn't have the room, let's say if we were in a brick situation on the outside, we could fold that flange in and we could actually screw through the jamb on these. Very important to pay attention to plumb and level and square for these new windows, and make sure you check the operation as you're installing them. Very important. On the outside of the window, we're using a three-sided bead of caulk, basically an upside down U, and notice we are not caulking the sill of this window, so if any water were to get in, it can find its way out. After the window's in place and nailed off, we're gonna go over that with another Tyvek product. This is called DuPont Straight Flash. And once the Straight Flash is in place, if I didn't have a one-story house like this, I'd wanna make sure that I had a really good metal flashing on the head of this window. Very, very important for a house with higher exposure. As you can see, it's not a difficult process, but you really need a good craftsman to help you on this project and make sure that you're really thinking about the waterproofing details. The last thing I wanna leave you with, in my 20 years of building and remodeling, 99% of the window leak issues I've seen over the years are totally install errors, so really pay attention to these waterproofing details we talked about today. For more information about other window install details or how to choose a good window, visit my blog at mattreisinger.com. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you next time.